All right, today we're going to tackle a subject that might sound a little intimidating, but trust me, it affects your wallet every single day. So let's dive into the big wide world of macroeconomics.
You ever get to the checkout line and just stare at the total, wondering why your groceries cost so much more than last week? Or maybe you hear some bad news about the economy and feel that little knot of anxiety about your job? Well, guess what? Those aren't just your worries. They're the huge questions right at the very heart of what we're talking about today.
And it turns out these really personal questions, the ones that directly hit your wallet, are the exact same questions the entire field of macroeconomics is trying to solve. We're about to connect your bank account to the entire global economy.
To really understand what's going on with our jobs, our savings, our future, we have to zoom way, way out. It's time to take that 30,000-foot view and look at the whole economic landscape from above.
And that's exactly what macroeconomics is. It's not about studying the individual trees. It's about understanding the entire forest. We're looking at the big picture stuff: a country's total output, its overall unemployment rate, and what makes a nation's economy grow or shrink.
Now, this is a super common point of confusion, so let's clear it up. Microeconomics is all about the small-scale decisions. Why you choose one brand of coffee over another, or how a single local business decides to hire someone. But macroeconomics, that's the big leagues. We're talking about total employment across the whole country and the overall level of prices, which of course leads us to that lovely word, inflation.
So if that's what we're looking at, what does an ideal, healthy economy even look like? What are we actually aiming for here? Well, it turns out economists have a kind of checklist, a set of big goals that policymakers are always trying to hit.
And yep, the magic number is 5. There are 5 main goals that governments and central banks are constantly trying to juggle to keep that big economic engine running as smoothly as possible.
First up, economic growth. Pretty straightforward, right? We want to make the whole economic pie bigger for everybody. Next is full employment, which basically means anyone who wants a job can find one. Third, we have equitable income distribution, trying to shrink that gap between the rich and the poor. Fourth is price stability. That's all about keeping inflation under control so the money you have today is worth about the same tomorrow. And finally, a healthy balance of payment, which is just a fancy way of saying we need to manage the flow of money between our country and the rest of the world. But here's the real kicker. These goals are often fighting each other. Pushing for more jobs can sometimes lead to higher prices. It is a constant, delicate balancing act. And of course, hitting all 5 of those targets at the same time is, well, it's pretty much impossible. So let's talk about what happens when that balancing act fails and things go wrong. These are the big headaches of macroeconomics.
The first major problem is inflation. And boys, this is something we've all been feeling. It's that relentless creep upwards in prices, where the cash in your wallet just doesn't stretch as far as it used to. I love the classic definition: too much money chasing too few goods. It just perfectly captures that feeling of your buying power slowly draining away.
Then you've got unemployment. When people are out there, actively looking for work, pounding the pavement, but just can't find a job, it's more than just a personal tragedy. For the economy as a whole, it's a massive, tragic waste of talent and potential. It's a huge sign of inefficiency.
And when these problems get really, really bad and stick around for a while, you can fall into what's called a recession. Simply put, a recession is a long period, we're talking more than 6 months, where the economy is actually shrinking instead of growing. Economic growth goes negative, and unemployment almost always shoots way up.
Okay, so we have these classic challenges: inflation, unemployment, but now we have to throw a massive, game-changing variable into the mix: technology. We are living through what experts call the 4th Industrial Revolution, or Industry 4.0.
So what is Industry 4.0? It's this huge shift away from traditional manufacturing and production toward totally digital methods. We're talking about technologies like artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, and big data completely rewriting the rules of how we make and deliver pretty much everything.
And its impact is absolutely everywhere you look. Just think about the rise of the gig economy with apps like Uber and Airbnb, or the explosion of remote work that so many of us are now a part of. This tech revolution is creating incredible new jobs we couldn't have imagined a decade ago, while at the same time making others, like, say, the person who worked at the video rental store, completely obsolete, thanks to streaming.
Okay, so we've looked at these massive ideas, right? From inflation and unemployment all the way to AI and the future of work. Let's bring this all back down to earth. Why should you care about any of this?
Because macroeconomics isn't some dusty old theory in a textbook. It is literally the story of your financial life. It's the hidden force that's setting the price of your morning coffee, that's shaping the security of your job, and that's creating the opportunities, or lack thereof, of tomorrow. Honestly, understanding this stuff is like having a secret map to navigate the world we live in.
And that brings us to one final, really important question to leave you with. As technology continues to totally reshape our world, from the jobs we do to the very idea of what value is, do those 5 main economic goals we talked about earlier still make sense? Or will we need a completely new definition of what a healthy economy looks like for the future? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me.